Good Monday afternoon, and thanks for joining us on KARE 11 News Now. I'm Lauren Lemanchek. Now let's get to your headlines. Happening today, the balance of power could shift in the Minnesota House. DFL Representative David Gottfried is set to take a seat for the first time today. When that happens, the number of House Republicans and Democrats will officially be split at 67 each. That also means Democrats and Republicans will co-chair all but one House committee. Plus, bills will need bipartisan support to pass through committees and move to the House floor. Now, per this deal, we'll also see Republican Lisa Demuth as Speaker for the next 2 years. And day to day, as one DFL representative put it, committees will rotate gavels, with the co-chairs from both parties setting their respective agendas and deciding which bills to discuss. Today's floor calendar includes 12 different bills, but the priority now and in the weeks to come is agreeing on a budget for the next 2 years. With the threat of a government shutdown in the rearview mirror tonight, the Trump administration is moving forward with new import taxes on a range of foreign goods. And the president now says he does not plan to offer exemptions on steel and aluminum.
It's a liberation day for our country because we're going to be getting back a lot of the wealth that we so foolishly gave up to other countries. It's going to be reciprocal. In other words, whatever they're charging, we're charging. Very simple. If they're charging us, we're charging them. Then in addition to that, on autos, on steel, on aluminum, we're going to have some additional tariffs.
The new tariffs on most of the United States trading partners take effect in 2 weeks on April 2nd. 25% tariffs on all aluminum and steel imported into the U.S. went into effect last week, and both Canada and Europe immediately retaliated with tariffs of their own. Happening this week, President Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin are expected to speak on the phone about a possible ceasefire and the beginning of the end of the war in Ukraine. But some Ukrainians are worried. While they want peace, they fear they're being kept out of negotiations for their country's future. Richard Engel is in eastern Ukraine.
Militarily, Vladimir Putin is continuing his offensive all across Ukraine, and officials in this country say that overnight, Russia fired nearly 200 drones. Vladimir Putin said that he was continuing this offensive, and Ukrainian officials have been complaining that Vladimir Putin is stalling for time, doesn't want to stop his attacks against Ukraine, even amid this push for peace by President Donald Trump. All eyes in this country are now focused on a call that is expected to take place tomorrow between Presidents Putin and President Trump. And it seems like the two men are going well beyond just a conversation about a 30-day ceasefire that Ukraine has already agreed to unilaterally. But when you listen to President Trump and his latest comments and Vladimir Putin, it seems that they already know how these negotiations are going to play out. President Trump said that in his conversation with President Putin, he wants to talk about dividing assets here in Ukraine. He talked about land and power plants, certainly much more than just 30 days to stop fighting and then to have the conversations. And Ukrainian officials are very worried that tomorrow Presidents Putin and Trump will talk on the phone and decide the future of this country. Richard Engel, NBC News, Kharkiv, Ukraine.
Well, right now you have less than a month until the deadline to file your taxes. Now, despite thousands of workers being fired from the IRS, tax professionals say they aren't seeing any problems for people filing or getting their returns. The department is now drafting a plan to cut its workforce in half. Let's break down the numbers. Already, roughly 7,000 probationary employees have lost their jobs. We know about 5,000 more accepted the buyout offer from the Trump administration. Since those cuts started happening, top executives have also left, including Commissioner Danny Werfel and the acting commissioner who replaced him. The department employs roughly 90,000 people across the U.S. Well, here's some truly incredible images coming out of the South and Midwest as communities clean up from deadly storms this weekend. As many as 40 people have died from those storms that moved from Arkansas to New York and destroyed everything in their path. Several dangerous tornadoes spawned from this storm, and heavy rain flooded towns. Jay Gray is in the hard-hit area of Villa Ridge, Missouri, with more.
Well, in what's been a string of severe weather, violent weather across at least 6 states for the last 3 days, Missouri has gotten some of the worst of it. You can see what tornadoes did to this tiny community, Villa Ridge, just outside of St. Louis, tearing down trees and power lines, ripping apart homes and scattering people's belongings just for miles here. This is an area that has been devastated by the tornadoes. At least 6 confirmed tornadoes here in Missouri alone. They expect that number to climb above a dozen once everything is said and done. And they've lost at least 12 people here. 12 victims of the storm have died as a result of this. Across the country, again, 6 states dealing with severe weather. As many as 40 people killed in those storms. And now the cleanup begins for so many communities. Trying to piece together what they can, find anything that may be left in the midst of all of this mess, and then start to clear things away. And we're seeing crews out about right now, power crews doing what they can, and then teams coming in to try and clear away some of the biggest debris. It's going to be a long process, one that's going to take some time. And coming back, even talking to some of the people who called this place home, they say they're coming back, but they do realize that's going to take some time, and it's just beginning right now. That's the latest right now from here in Villa Ridge. I'm Jay Gray. Now back to you.
Well, new this afternoon, charges against the Minnesota man accused of hiding a pair of stolen ruby slippers that Judy Garland wore in The Wizard of Oz have been dismissed because Jerry Salterman has died. Prosecutors just informed the court about his death on Sunday. Salterman was set to change his plea to guilty for holding on to the stolen slippers for years. However, that hearing was postponed indefinitely because he was hospitalized. The slippers were stolen in 2005 from the Judy Garland Museum in Grand Rapids and were recovered in 2018. They just sold at auction for $28 million. Well, right now, the St. Cloud State student named as a person of interest in the search for a missing college student in Punta Cana is being confined to a hotel room. That's according to Joshua Reeby's attorney, who tells NBC News Reeby's passport has been allegedly confiscated. The attorney also says police are escorting Reeby wherever he goes. NBC obtained transcripts from one of Reeby's interviews with police. In it, Reeby told authorities he and Sudiksha Kanagi were in the water when they both almost drowned and he saved her. Afterwards, while standing in knee-deep water, Reeby told police he got sick, and when he looked up, Kanagi was gone. Sudiksha was last seen March 6th. Well, we need your help to make this year's food fight a huge success. We're partnered with the Salvation Army and Cub Foods to help with this growing issue of hunger in the Twin Cities. A St. Paul woman who knows firsthand just how hard it is for area families to make ends meet. Jason Hackett has Ashley's story.
It's been 5 years since the COVID-19 pandemic changed our lives forever. For Ashley Solderstrom, it hit especially hard.
My mother-in-law passed away from COVID, and it was totally unexpected.
Her family saw heartbreak.
Then I was out of work because I have a plate in my neck.
After heartbreak.
And then in 23, my dad passed away from lung cancer. My mom had a double mastectomy.
Ashley says it was all too much to bear.
It was insane. It was like being on a teacup at like a carnival. Everything was just spinning and nothing would stop.
With the stress and financial hardships piling up, Ashley needed stability. She found it here.
Where would you be now if it wasn't for the Salvation Army filling in those gaps?
Hungry, which is really sad, but yeah, it's definitely made a dramatic impact.
Many people here in Minnesota, your friends, your neighbors, maybe even members of your own family have a story like Ashley's. 1 in 5 families in our state rely on food shelves like the one here to make ends meet.
We start with frozen meat bagged up.
Every Friday, you'll find volunteers preparing boxes of perishable food for families like Ashley's.
They'll get a dairy product, they'll get greens, they'll get fruits.
Each box packed with care and given with love.
My daughter, I know she's gonna go nuts for the sweets.
Ashley admits reaching out for help required her to put aside her pride.
I used to have that kind of stereotypical, yeah, I would never go to the food shelf. Oh, yeah, guess what? When you grow up, you live and you learn. Yeah, there's priorities that you have to take in hand.
And she's thankful for that moment of clarity. Considering everything she's been through to get to that point, she has this message for the community.
You can't judge anybody because you don't know what their story is walking in. So my joke is I'm not Judy, I don't judge. Hopefully people, if they need help, come in and grab help.
Together, you've helped raise more than $25,000. Every dollar matters, so scan the QR code on your screen or go to care11.com/give to join a team and donate. Are you wearing your green today? It's St. Patrick's Day and the Twin Cities are getting in the spirit. Check out the scene in St. Paul this afternoon. The parade running from Rice Park through downtown and ending at Mears Park in Lower Town. And expect a lot of traffic in downtown Minneapolis tonight. The city's bringing its St. Patrick's Day parade back downtown. That kicks off at 6 tonight, running from 6th Street and Nicollet Avenue before ending at 12th Street. If you are going to go out tonight, make sure to set up a sobered ride home this morning. The Minnesota State Patrol will boost DWI patrols over the next 24 hours. According to the Department of Public Safety, last year, over the holiday weekend, there were 438 impaired driving arrests across the state. Metro Transit is once again offering free rides in the Twin Cities tonight. They start at 6 p.m. and apply to all Metro bus and light rail service. And on our way to break, how's this for a St. Patrick's Day celebration? This is the scene in Dublin today for their parade. St. Patrick's Day, for those who don't know, commemorates the death of St. Patrick, who is credited with bringing Christianity to Ireland in the 5th century. Stick with us. More news and weather's coming up after the break.